to do is get started next with our afternoon events and speakers, which are so excited. I'm so excited about because it's time to kick it up a notch. You know, right after lunch, people tend to get a little tired. And we kind of talked about this before lunch and said, we have some entertainment that we'd like to include for Professionapalooza, because it's Professionapalooza, and Palooza is a fun event. It's, you know, what Lollapalooza is to music, Professionapalooza is to business. So we hope you're having fun. We hope you're meeting some really great people here today, and it's about today, creating your future, taking advantage of the technology and innovative ways that you can really go out there and take your business and your career to the next level. And that's what our afternoon segment is going to be focusing on, starting with Glenn Rains, who is talking about the social media, and then leading into Christy Levanway. They're going to actually lead right into one another, and how all of your LinkedIn and everything else goes together hand in hand and is what you need today to stay connected. And then we'll have, again, a word from our charities that we're working with today. Give Kids the World is a great, great organization, and we really want to help these children with terminal illnesses. Go to Disney World. Let's make some dreams come true today, because, you know, it's, as our chairperson, Allison Jennings, put together and said it best, was make a wish, make a dream, make a difference. So that's just one of the slogans we have that's been tied to this event since we started planning actually in November. So I hope that that message kind of sticks with you, and you know, you can share it with others and create your future. And let's learn from Glenn, and right after him is going to be Christy coming up. So tell us how to do that, Glenn.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, how many of you out there have a Twitter page? All right. How many have 100% of their LinkedIn complete? Well, there's a really good student right here in the middle. How many of you have a group Facebook page? How many of you have a business fan page? Oh, you're even a better student. How many of you have a Google profile? Before you go to bed tonight, you want to do a Google profile, because that's, number one, a free thing. Secondly, if you have a Google account, you can sign in there and fill out your Google profile, and you have a 99.9% guarantee that you're going to show up on the #1 page on the Google search results. It's an amazing thing. If you haven't done it already, go do it tonight before you go to bed. You'll see it there, right at the bottom of the Google page. What I'm going to cover just briefly is some of the interesting stats that are happening in social media. Some very interesting things. I'm going to talk about Twitter at the beginning. Back in February of this year, there were 5 million Twitter accounts there. In just 2 months, it became 9.3 million. That's a 131% increase in the use of Twitter, just an exploding microblogging service there. Not surprisingly, 10% of the Twitter users out there, the most prolific, are doing 90% of the tweets. And that tells us something very interesting about how different companies, how people are using Twitter, because it's a percentage of the gross number of tweets that says there are some companies out there that are using Twitter as a broadcast channel. They're sending out broadcast information. They're not worried about the warm and fuzzy conversation with their customers. There are those models, but they have defined in some cases an audience that has value in the utility of the information coming down the stream and the just-in-time information on that. So I want to keep that in mind, because I'm going to show you a very interesting case study in that in just a second. This came out here in the last day or so, a very interesting Twitter research study by the Harvard Business School, and if you Google it, you'll find it very interesting. What they found was that men are twice more likely to follow another man than a woman. And tied in with that is that this was an M sample of 300,000 people that are using Twitter. Women were 25% more likely to follow a man than a woman, and to be followed by another man than by a woman. So what this is, they're trying to figure out the hypothesis of why men in the Twitter universe particularly get more followers. And one of the hypotheses is that Twitter as a social media site is more text-based, and therefore there could be something there where they're sending more text as opposed to MySpace or Facebook, where men may be following women or maybe more of a lifestyle thing. They're still trying to figure out that hypothesis, but it's kind of an interesting thing to look at there. Median tweet per user, the median lifetime tweet per user. In other words, how many tweets would they do in a lifetime? Is 1. So that goes back to 10% of the folks doing the most prolific tweeting out there, sending messages. But overall, the average Twitterer, if you will, is doing 1 tweet in their lifetime. It's kind of an interesting thing to look at there as well. Not surprisingly, or really surprisingly too, is that the fastest growing age segment in Twitter is 45 to 54. And so what's interesting, and some of the individuals coming up there as businesses, as entrepreneurs, as individuals, it's really starting to do a big shift towards, skewing towards an upper demographic age group. There, as some of the other segments, Gen Y, Gen X, they're going over the friend feed. They're exploring some other social media areas right now. So that's kind of an interesting demographic there. A little bit on Facebook. In January, there was 150 million Facebook users. In April of this year, there were 200 million. That's 549,000 per day.